All right, let's talk about it. So, someone in the comments asked me, um, why do I think, in my opinion, so many American bullies are dying earlier than their expected 8 to, what is it, 12-year approximation for life expectancy? My opinion, I think that it is because our entire breed, and I'm sure other breeds have as well, but our entire breed is founded off of non-health tested backyard breeder stock. That doesn't mean that we don't have great breeders. That doesn't mean that we don't have knowledgeable people who actually care about these dogs. We do. But it's become common practice by even the largest breeders in this entire um generation, or in not even just this generation, the previous generation. It's become common practice even for them to not worry, think about, care about, offer, propose any type of health testing. The biggest studs in the game and their owners, even the biggest breeders with the legendary lines in this game and their owners, they don't encourage dams to be health tested. When they approve females, they don't ask about health testing, and they don't ask about genetics. None of that. So what you end up getting is you get one untested stud that becomes super popular, super famous. And then that one stud has 1,000 babies. Now that doesn't mean that they had 1,000 breedings, but that's what, 300 studdings. And if they have 2 copies of whatever it is that they're passing down, now they're at least giving one, or they're guaranteed to give one of whatever that terrible copy of whatever that genetic trait is to all of their litters. And if they only have 1 copy, they're guaranteed to give 50% roughly of that copy. So if they have I don't know, laryngeal paralysis, a copy for that, they're passing it down to every puppy. And no one ever knows. And then here's the kicker. Not even just that. Then everybody wants to run things back to each other. They want to line breed. They want to inbreed. They don't even know what it is. But so then you're taking 1 copy or 2 copies and breeding it to another dog who's related to the first dog with another copy. Now you're just creating genetic messes, and they're just constantly going. So I don't know. And then on top of that, the more you inbreed, the smaller your dogs become. The freakier they become. That's the same thing with hillbillies. When they keep screwing their cousins, eventually the entire family looks jacked up. The royal family looks jacked up. I can't remember which family that was, but one of the royal families just had really jacked up noses and faces because they were only breeding the purebred royalty. Their cousins. Sometimes their sisters or brothers. And these dudes be doing that in the bully community. And then they pass the pup on. Nobody even cares to look into it afterwards. And trust me, I got caught into this same stuff. It's not because a lot of these people, well, I'm not even gonna say that, because a lot of these people won't do it because it costs extra money. It's about $700 a litter on average. And they're already struggling to sell puppies, so they're not gonna spend $700 on some testing. But if they knew about it, they'd be more informed, in my opinion. And so even for me, I just didn't know about it in the beginning. So it was like, what? I could do what? It would help me do what? Of course I'll do that. That's a no-brainer. And that's just not how it worked out for a lot of people. And even when they are being informed, like I said, they get informed and it's like, hold on, wait, what? I got to sell these dogs for $500 to $1,000 because I don't already have a clientele. And now you're telling me that not only that, now you're telling me that I have to have another $700 or more in expenses because it's $100 per test per dog. And if I have a litter of 7, it's, you know what I mean? Of course they're not going to do that. So in my short formed opinion, that's why we have so many health issues, because this is literally the breed with the most culture, right? That's the breed with the most flair. We have the most style. Yeah, people show up dressed up to our shows, and they're professionals, but you can still hear loud rap music, loud Spanish music. You can still hear loud, culturally popular music of the time. Not even appropriate for the environment, but it's the culture. You know what I mean? Like so with that comes, tomfoolery. With that comes people who want to drink at shows, people who want to smoke at shows. It comes with a bunch of potential negativity. You know what I mean? And that potential negativity, it just begets more negativity. If you ask me, I love my people, but and we're not the only people that do it, to be clear. But in those type of people who are okay with dysfunction, who are okay with doing things off the record, off the books, the hood way, the slide way, the jacked up way in order to make a profit. They're not there for business. They're not treating it as a business. It's going to attract people into the American bully game that just want a quick flip. The quick flip era is over. It's done. That ended in 23, late 23, 24, when you could sell a BS puppy for 10 racks with no health testing. Not one hip test, not one nothing. Like, they was selling these puppies, for $7,000, not one embark. Blows my mind. And now all of your favorite dogs are being run back to each other, and no one knows who has what. It's a big breeding ground for just terrible genetics and health issues. So, if you ask me, that's why so many American bullies right now are dealing with so many health issues and dying earlier. In closing, if you really think about it, make sure I get my thoughts together. If you really think about it, the hardest part about this breeding game is all of these dogs have to be so extreme. We're pushing extreme. So people without an idea of what genetics really are, people without an understanding of how something can be overdone, they just keep running back to extreme, forgetting that the foundation of these dogs were protection dogs, companion dogs, working dogs, hunting dogs, dogs with high prey drive, and we're going completely away from that. I get it. You should never breed to aggression. Let me land the plane. You should never breed to aggression, but we keep breeding for muscle, for overdone, for extreme, and we never outcross back out to health. The health is never a consideration. We never outcross back out to health. In fact, most of us keep a bunch of extreme dogs to run back to each other, and they never keep one really healthy dog that can really breathe, that can really move, that can tolerate heat. So that way, even if you want to bulk up every generation, you're not diluting the blood back to a dog that has better movement, better breathing, longer muzzle, and not outrageously long, but long enough so it can breathe. You know what I mean? Like, 'cause this is a brachiocephalic breed. So we keep running extreme, smaller, compact, messed up arms, you know what I mean? Like, and even the breeders who don't breed for those extreme exotic characteristics, the regular breeders, they're still going to the most popular studs and looking for mass. The biggest breeders in the game, the biggest ones who have the biggest platforms, are still going for breeding back to extreme. Come on, I know I'm newer than a lot of these dudes who've been in this 20 years, but common sense. I'm college educated. Not that you have to be college educated to be smart. Street educated too. Trust me. But you can't keep running extreme. At some point, you got to give it a break, a generation, even at least a generation. Because then now you bringing along that athleticism with the bulk. You're not just pushing bulk. You're bringing along that good breathing, and it'll all balance out at the end. And that's what no one is doing, or at least no one who's popular is doing. So I plan on doing that. I appreciate y'all sticking around. I really don't want this video to be super long because I can be long-winded. Let me know your thoughts.